call the April 1st, 2025 Wirt County Board of Education meeting to order. First item of business is our Pledge of Allegiance, and this evening we're going to ask, let's see, who am I going to pick on? I asked Mrs. French and her student if you'd lead us in the, see, you thought it was funny when I said Mrs. French, right? You do it from right there.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Next, if the board would indulge me, I know that you won't mind, but we've had several people that have passed away that have worked for us in the past or work for us now, and I'd like to just do a moment of silence in their memory. And I have down Joe March, who passed away a couple weeks ago now, Kay Arnold, who Joe was a custodian for us for many, many years, and Kay, who was a substitute for us for many years, did a tremendous job for us. And then just this past week, we had passing of Roy Altop, who really worked for us for several years, I think about 13, 14 years, and then went to private business, but still worked for us as a basketball coach, and then come back this year as basketball coach, and Roy passed away suddenly also. So Joe March, Kay Arnold, and Roy Altop. So if you don't bow your heads, we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, we're down to the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, I see nothing on the, nothing added into the agenda. It looks like how we published is how we'll go tonight. Anybody see anything I missed? Sherry, anything? No? Okay, with that being said, any questions on the agenda? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay, down to recognitions. We have a couple of different recognitions tonight. First one is Wirt County High School wrestling and wrestling. So with that being said, Mr. McCowan, it's yours.
So we have some recognitions for wrestling under the regional state qualifiers. We have Chaz Burns and Matt Bayless. And then a 6th place state finish, we have Anston Carruthers. And so we're happy to bring those before you and recognize you.
And let's see, we got Matt and Anston here, right? Yeah, come on up, guys. We have certificates for you, and we'll get some pictures. Right in front here, guys. Good job. We're proud of you. Okay, want parents to come up too. We'll get pictures with parents. No, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
No, seriously. No, I'm serious. Mr. Lerman, I'm serious.
Yeah, you stay by my kid, I'll stay by yours.
Don't worry. Congratulations, man. Okay, our next recognitions are Wirt County Middle School, and that's the Middle School Honor Band. Mr. McCowan?
So we had several Wirt County Middle School students that made Regional 2 Middle School Honor Band. We had Leah Martin, 4th chair clarinet, Riker Neth, 7th chair clarinet, Alex Schaefer, third chair percussion, and Harley Rosenbaum, first chair alto saxophone. So I don't think that you brought all those with you. No. So I will give you the other certificates. We've got all the signatures, so if you don't mind to distribute them. But Harley, if you want to come up. Congratulations on first chair. Quite an accomplishment. That is.
Any chair is an accomplishment, the first chair especially.
And Mrs. French, if you don't mind giving these to the rest of the kids tomorrow, thank you much.
Mrs. French, again, thank you. Thank you for a job that you do for us. Okay, we're down to information. Mr. McCown, update on the survey that we're going to put out.
So I made the amendments that the board wished for from last time. And I just wanted to let you peruse this one last time before we put it out to see if there's any other additions or amendments that you would like to make. And Mr. Sherlock, I apologize, I forgot to add your last amendment on there, just an other box for other commentary or thoughts, but I don't know why that slipped out of my mind when I was working on this today, but I just thought of it. I will include that in the final product.
Thank you.
Okay, so you'll put that in there before you publish
Yes.
it? Okay.
I apologize, I made a note of that, and then when I was working on it today, I forgot about it.
Any questions? So what we'll do now is Mr. McCown will go ahead and publish this, if it's okay with everybody, with the one thing from Mr. Sherlock. We'll get it published and see what comes back.
And when it's published, who will it be sent out to? Like, how will it be
We will
distributed?
post it on the website and then put the link out on our social media pages for folks. And I can probably do a parent link call out to all of the parents to let them know to be looking for that.
Since we're talking about the community as a whole, could you also reach out to the Wirt County Journal and ask them to?
Yes. Yes, I can do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's writing the articles now. Sherry, who do you give the
Mr.
stuff to?
Armstrong is still
Mr. Armstrong,
working on them.
yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
are we filling this out, what we feel is or what people has told us?
Well, we're going to publish
We're
it.
going to publish it and get the opinions of everybody out there and get input from
Okay, but
others.
there's questions here, like the first one that says, what issues or problems with the current high school that need addressed? I've had people tell me, but is that for what people's told me, or is what I feel is?
What?
I think it could be, if somebody shared a concern with you, I don't mind if others re-share that, so it could be either or.
Okay.
But this will go out and everybody will have their own answers.
Correct.
It'll be what the person that's filling out the survey.
This is just a
Yeah.
copy.
So when you fill it out, you could put those,
Yeah.
but the people that you talk to, encourage them to do the survey and put those,
Yeah.
Okay.
put them themselves additionally.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so at this time, we have to have the first public hearing for the calendar, and that is under recess. Okay, so at this time, I will entertain a motion to recess for the first public hearing for the 25-26 school calendar.
So
So-
moved.
Any questions, comments?
He did.
Okay, we have a motion at 6:10 to recess to hold the first public hearing for the 25-26 school calendar. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we are in recess. Mr. McCown.
So we had 3 submissions for the calendar, and I've asked Mrs. Brown to join us this evening. She's got a brief presentation, and then she also has the public comment where we've had it open for folks to comment on the 3 calendars that are there. So I'll turn things over to Mrs. Brown.
Good evening. So I just have put together a list of factual information, basically, on the 3 calendars. So first of all, we just like to reiterate the things to consider when we're developing a calendar would be the board policy that governs the calendar format and everything that's compliance. Then the State Department also puts together a school calendar guidance document. Mr. McCown shares those out with everyone so they have access to it if they wish to develop one. And then we also have to consider the Office of Finance timelines as far as payroll and everything goes. And then we also look forward into the following year's assessment windows because we need to make sure that we have ample time, instructional time for those. So I know this is too small for you to read, but I believe you have the copies of these 3 calendars. So the first, Sample A, just some points that go along with that. It starts and ends August 12th to May 28th. First semester ending December 23rd. The OS days go with 4 with breaks and then 2 reserved at the very end. Graduation has to be May 15th or after. On that calendar, you will see that the proposed date is May 17th, but it can be any time after the 15th. And there are fewer O, which are out of calendar days. There's only 9 with this calendar. Sample B, and starting with 8/11 and ending on June 2nd. First semester ends 12/22. And I should have said with that, with the first semester and second semester, we tried to look and make sure that we have as equal as possible, but we do have the ability to end and looking at that Christmas break and ending first semester and having a clean switch. OS days are 2 with breaks and then 4 at the end. Graduation could be May 18th or after. So looking at the difference between, if you look at the graduation date can't be until the 18th on this calendar, I would kind of push it days to that possible 3-day window weekend. Usually we consult with the high school, of course, for the picking of that day. And then there's a long winter break with Sample B. And then calendar C, starting on 8/13, ending June 5th. First semester ends December 19th. There are 3 OS days with breaks and then 3 at the end. Graduation date here has to be May 21st or after. And then it also has a long winter break. And then I will pass out for you. These are comments that we have thus far collected from having it advertised on our website.
Carla. Thank you. Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, what's the last day that you can have school? What day are we required to have school over then?
By the end of June.
End of June?
So if we have a bad winter,
Uh-huh.
then we would have to turn as many of those days into instructional days. So June 30.
But graduation won't change. Graduation will, right?
Would graduation change at that point? I would think if it's really bad, we would consider
I
it,
would-
but I don't know that
I know
the
in the
State
past,
Department
once
has
you said
ever.
graduation, it was set. Carla, if they approve the new legislation that gives 10 of the NIT days, right? Did I say
Yes.
that right? Instead of 5, that really doesn't do anything though as far as,
Correct.
the
That just would
calendar.
make
Yeah, it would give us
Mr. McCown would have the
it would
ability.
give
Give
us
us-
5
Mr. McCown would have the
Give us
ability.
5 more days before we've got to take those,
And start going towards.
start
OS or
tacking
O
days
days.
on at the end, or taking days out of the breaks where those OS days are.
Yeah.
And with this winter, I would be in favor of that legislation to give us 5 more days before we've got to start adding them to the calendar.
Okay, it is a public hearing. This is the chance for anybody to, yeah.
Well, I
to
signed up to be
have a
a
comment.
speaker too for the public hearing. So I did my duties for Mr. McCown. And now, so I just want to speak on behalf, so I've never been a special ed director that has to keep track of timelines before. So I can honestly say that from my experience with our current calendar, it was very difficult, truly wreaked havoc on our special ed timelines this year because we had 2 weeks off and then all of the snow days in between, and we legitimately had teachers coming in and working on those days because we had to meet timelines. So, one, you never know when snow's going to hit, yes, but if you already plan to be off a full 2 weeks, I mean, I don't even like going that long without seeing kids, you know, in the winter, and over the holidays is always a rough time. So that's just from my perspective as special ed director. It's seldom that we kind of get a calendar that you have that option, but I would like to stay away from those longer breaks if possible. And, you know, I worked with each of the other 2 individuals that submitted calendars, and, you know, everybody's very, you know, like we had back and forth. I'm like, okay, you need another day here, another day there to make things work. I would also kind of like to see a committee come together, and instead of like, you know, Karen and I were even talking before we came, and it was like, well, if we would have thought to pick this day or that day, but if you, and we did share amongst the board office and tried to gather ideas, but if you had a representative from each school and at the board office to kind of hash out and say, well, you know, what can we compromise on this? And I guess, just a suggestion for maybe in the future to have something that's just kind of like a sit down and have a conversation about the pros and the cons, and okay, I'll give you February 13th if you'll give me April 4th, you know, that kind of bartering. And then we could have a calendar that it's not like half of the people lose and half of the people win when we vote. But, so on calendar A, I really like the fact that whoever thought to do it kind of tried to align their breaks with college breaks, like people that have kids in college. That would be me and some other people that I talked to about it. But that's always something that, you know, our people that have kids in college, just like your kid's on break and you want to be on break with them, and then you're not. So that's also a consideration that people look at when they're doing the calendar. And we try to do things like Good Friday. You know, it's not a holiday for us, but if we can put a day on it. Columbus Day, other businesses are off and not necessarily a holiday for school systems, but if we can put a day on something like that, you know, parents, you know, if they get a day off because they work in the business world and they get that day as a holiday, it's nice that their kids be off too. So those things are always nice to try to do. So that was probably my 3 minutes that I got to talk.
Appreciate your work on that, Carla.
I have one question. Does all 3 of them include having the semester end before the holiday break?
Yes, I believed all 3 of them were ending.
Because that's one of the concerns before I was hearing, that, you know, and I can understand that, you know, if you have a break and then
Come back
afterwards
for a
have your
week.
tests and that stuff, would be good.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, do all 3 calendars have the same amount of planned instructional days?
Yes, they all meet all the requirements for the 180 instructional days. Yeah, before we put them out, even if there's something that they submitted and it's wrong, I always let them know so they can fix it. So all 3 of these met all the criteria that are required.
And then, has there been any tracking of trends on the calendars in the past and correlate that with student achievement? Because you mentioned certain break periods for the students you work with. I'm assuming that the problem is it diminishes their achievement in the long run. So do we know which one of these has that been even looked at?
I couldn't say in the past. I mean, you know, I've only been here 2 years, so I don't even know what the calendars would have been in the past
We have done a pretty
years.
similar calendar start
Yeah.
and end date in the 5 years that I have been here. They can't, like, the length of the Christmas break and where it falls and where spring break falls has differed some, but as far as the approximate start date and end date, they've been pretty similar each year.
So
So not much difference to be
not
able
much
to tell.
difference than in student performance on longer breaks in the middle or shorter breaks or anything like that, or where we divide up the semester?
I don't know that we've looked at that, because typically, I think last year was the first year that things lined up and we had a longer Christmas break. I don't think that we've done that in previous years, before this past year.
I have a question, kind of based off of what Mr. Sherlock was saying. Since they both have the same amount of instructional days, so based on when testing occurs, which one of the calendars has the most instructional seat time for students prior to testing day?
Well, of course, if you look at your OS days and then your orange O days, the fewer of those you have, which, looking at A, it has fewer out-of-calendar days and then fewer OS days before combined. So when we're looking at shorter breaks, so forth, then that's going to get you more instructional time. Is that what you're,
So testing is,
so we do have testing windows, so it doesn't necessarily matter when spring break falls, because pretty much all of them are either going to be right when the testing window starts or kind of in the middle of it. But it's those days prior to, like our Thanksgiving and Christmas breaks are really where that helps. And I will say, just a matter of point that I kind of forgot to mention on my slides, we always like to have a day where we can have staff complete hours of trainings. And calendars A and B allow for that on November 28th. And calendar C did not, where we have typically put a CD day. So that would be something that we would want to consider for calendar C, to make sure how we're going to cover those hours for all the training hours they have to complete.
Okay, so we have to have one more public hearing,
Yes.
so maybe some of the questions that were asked here this evening, something that we can take a look at. But we will have one more public hearing, I believe, next board meeting.
Yes.
So at this time, if there's no other questions from the public, we'll entertain a motion to return to regular session.
Thank you.
So
Thank you,
moved.
Carla. Okay, we have a motion to return to regular session at 6:24. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to approval of the minutes. Need a motion to approve the March 18th, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Any corrections, comments, concerns? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the March 18th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Then finance, need a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $80,158.45.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So 2 runs of expenditures for your consideration tonight. The first on 3/20/2025 totals $21,076.69. Noteworthy in this, we have produce for $5,209.25 and the West Virginia Department of Agriculture for $4,111.19. The next run of expenditures on 3/27/2025 totaling $59,081.76. Noteworthy on this, we have some technology, Advantis virtual reality goggles for $91.48 and the West Virginia Department of Education virtual school tuition bill for first semester in the amount of $18,350. These 2 runs of expenditures combined total at $80,158.45.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $80,158.45. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. I have no supplements tonight, so we're down to transfers. Need a motion to approve budget transfers in the amount of $86,544.61.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So the first, in the amount of $6,000, is a transfer Title I school improvement for Wirt County Primary Center staff development subs and after-school tutoring. The next, in the amount of $3,000, a transfer state special ed funding for contracted vision services. The next, in the amount of $35,980.80, transfer step 7 funding for virtual tuition. The next, in the amount of $4,500, transfer IDEA for diagnostic testing services. The next, in the amount of $9,000, transfer step 7D for contracted staff development services. And finally, in the amount of $28,063.81, transfer Title I for summer school program at Wirt County Primary Center. These transfers total $86,544.61.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the budget transfers in the amount of $86,544.61. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, now we are looking for a motion to approve West Virginia School Board Association for FY 2026 membership subscription fee in the amount of $2,284.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
That was in your packet for where Sherry was asking how much that was, and we, with your approval tonight, we'll get an invoice and pay that expenditure for you.
Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the membership subscription fee for West Virginia School Board Association for fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $2,284. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, we're into personnel matters. First one is resignations and leave of absences. Need a motion to approve the resignation of Matthew Hayes, alternative education teacher, special ed, effective March 21, 2025.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So his letter was in your packet. He's done an outstanding job with alternative ed thus far, but some family issues have arisen per his letter, and he needs to spend more time with that.
Any questions? Here none, we have a motion to approve the resignation of Matthew Hayes as alternative education teacher, special education, effective March 21, 2025. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Down into employment. At this time, I would like to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss employment of teachers. So I made that motion. Any questions, comments? We have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss employment of teacher. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it.